Malaysia is one of Southeast Asia's most underrated travel destinations. Malaysia sits between Thailand and Singapore, and it's remarkably easy to navigate. The food is extraordinary. You get ancient rainforest, island beaches, colonial heritage, and one of the great modern cities in Asia, all in a country that most travelers still rush through on the way to somewhere else. That's a mistake we're going to fix today. Welcome to Optimized Travel Destinations. My name is Teresa, and I am part of the Optimized Travel team. We help travelers plan amazing trips through our concierge service, and our team has worked together to list the absolute best places Malaysia has to offer. These are the top 10 places to visit in Malaysia, counting down from 10 to 1. And this is a list that covers a lot more ground than most people expect. Gunung Mulu National Park contains caves so large they have their own weather systems. The park sits in the remote interior of Sarawak, on the island of Borneo, near the border with Brunei. It's accessible only by small aircraft from Miri or Kuching. No road reaches it, which is both logistically inconvenient and exactly the right approach for a place of this scale. The park is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and home to some of the largest cave systems on Earth. The Sarawak chamber inside Gunung Mulu is large enough to fit 40 Boeing 747s side by side and still have room. Deer Cave has a mouth so large that clouds form inside it, and each evening between 5 and 6 p.m., millions of bats emerge in a continuous spiral column that lasts up to 40 minutes. The pinnacles, razor-sharp limestone spires erupting from the forest on the slopes of Gunung Api, require a 2-day jungle trek to reach and are worth it completely. I think the bat exodus from Deer Cave is one of the most impressive wildlife spectacles in Southeast Asia. Nothing can fully prepare you for the experience of standing underneath them. The park requires booking well in advance. Accommodation is limited, and the most popular cave tours fill months ahead. I recommend allowing at least 3 nights. 4 is better. The park operates year-round, though November to January sees heavier rain. Taman Negara is 130 million years old, which makes it one of the oldest rainforests on Earth and completely puts into perspective any concern you might have about flight delays. The national park covers over 4,000 square kilometers in Pahang, Kelantan, and Terengganu states, with the main entry point at Kuala Tahan village. Most visitors arrive by a 2.5-hour river journey from Jerantut, one of the better approaches to any national park in Asia, with the forest thickening visibly as the boat moves upstream. The world's largest canopy walkway stretches 530 meters between trees at 25 to 40 meters elevation, giving a perspective on the forest usually available only to gibbons, hornbills, and flying squirrels. The night jungle walk, small group guided tours with proper torches, reveals the forest's other shift: the tarantulas, the enormous stick insects, and the slow loris, if you're lucky. Fishing the park's rivers alongside Orang Asli guides, the indigenous communities who have lived here for thousands of years, is a fantastic experience. My favorite thing about Taman Negara is the river itself, the Sungai Tahan, running clear over stones inside the park, where you can swim in fresh water surrounded by primary jungle. I recommend booking accommodations at the Mutiara Taman Negara Resort or the budget chalets at Kuala Tahan Village at least 2 months ahead. 3 to 4 nights is ideal. The canopy walkway has a 500-person daily limit, so buy tickets early in the morning. Kuching is the capital of Sarawak and a city with more personality per square kilometer than almost anywhere in Malaysia. The city sits at the mouth of the Sarawak River on the northwestern coast of Borneo, connected by direct flights to both Kuala Lumpur and Singapore, and about 90 minutes from each. Sarawak was ruled as a private kingdom by the White Rajas, the Brooke family from Britain, from 1841 to 1946, which left the city with a distinct architectural and cultural character, unlike peninsular Malaysia. The Sarawak Museum is one of the finest natural history and ethnographic museums in South Asia. The Old Wing houses collections of Bornean wildlife specimens and indigenous artifacts that are extraordinary in breadth. The Sunday morning Satak market sells jungle ferns, wild boar, live turtles, local honey, and things you won't find anywhere else. The waterfront promenade at dusk with the ornate Astana Palace visible across the river is one of the most pleasant evening walks in Malaysian Borneo. Kuching is also the best base for day and overnight trips to see wild proboscis monkeys at Bako National Park, and for visiting Ibon Longhouse communities on the Lemanock River. I think Kuching is one of Southeast Asia's most underrated city breaks. 3 days covers the city well. Add a night at Bako National Park for a genuinely different experience. The laksa here, a coconut milk and sambal noodle soup eaten only at breakfast, is considered by many to be the best dish in Malaysia. Kuching is a year-round destination, but for the best conditions at the national park, I recommend visiting during the dry season, from April through October. The Perhentian Islands are where people go for a week and extend to 2, because the water is that color, and the coral is that good, and the pace is that easy. Pulau Perhentian comprises 2 main islands, Perhentian Besar and Perhentian Kecil, off the northeastern coast of Terengganu State, about 21 kilometers from the mainland jetty at Kuala Besut. The speedboat crossing takes about 45 minutes. The islands have been part of a protected marine park since 1994, and the reefs are healthy enough to host reef sharks, sea turtles, barracudas, and large schools of parrotfish. Long Beach on Kecil is the social hub, beach bars, hammocks, and a row of chalet-style accommodation right on the sand. Besar is quieter, with more upmarket resorts and fewer people at any given beach. The snorkeling directly off the jetty at Coral Bay on the western side of Kecil is as good as anything you'll find on a guided boat trip. The Coral Garden is close to shore, the visibility is excellent, and the turtles are completely comfortable with observers who keep their distance. The islands are only accessible from March to October due to the northeast monsoon. July and August are the busiest months. Accommodation is basic on most of the islands, so go for the water, not the mattresses. And I should also mention that the island is cash only, so make sure you bring enough from the mainland. Kota Kinabalu is the easygoing capital of Sabah and the gateway to Southeast Asia's highest mountain, a combination that keeps it permanently busy with visitors who know exactly what they're here for. The city sits on the western coast of Sabah, on Malaysian Borneo, connected to Kuala Lumpur by direct flight in about 2.5 hours. Mount Kinabalu is the highest peak in Southeast Asia. The summit climb of Kinabalu is not a technical mountaineer's route. It's a steep, well-maintained trail through changing landscapes from tropical forest to bare granite. Most climbers do it over 2 days, staying at Labanrata Guest House before a pre-dawn summit push. The sunrise from Lowe's Peak, watching the shadow of Kinabalu itself fall across the clouds of Borneo below you, is one of my favorite experiences in Southeast Asia. Kota Kinabalu itself is warm and relaxed, with a Sunday market on Jalan Gaya Street and a waterfront sunset that draws a crowd every evening. The Tunku Abdul Rahman Marine Park, 5 islands a short boat ride from town, has easy island snorkeling and relaxed beach days. I love arriving back in town after the Kinabalu climb, completely spent and eating seafood at the waterfront market as the sun goes down. That sequence, summit dawn to sea level sunset on the same day, is hard to match. The summit climb must be booked well in advance. Permits are limited, and the mountain fills months ahead, especially for weekend dates, with March to September the driest season for climbing. Langkawi is a duty-free island off the northwest coast of Malaysia with white sand beaches, jungle waterfalls, and a mangrove ecosystem that is a UNESCO Global Geopark. The Langkawi Archipelago, 99 islands in total, sits in the Andaman Sea, about 30 kilometers off the Kota coast, near the Thai border. Langkawi Airport receives direct flights from Kuala Lumpur in under an hour. The Langkawi cable car climbs 708 meters to the peak of Gunung Mulu, the oldest rock formation in Malaysia, with views across the archipelago and into Thailand. Tanjung Ru on the northern shore has dramatic mangrove-fringed beaches and kayak trips into the mangrove system, where fireflies light up the channels at night. Telaga Tuchu, the 7 Wells, is a series of freshwater pools connected by natural rock slides, reachable through jungle. The duty-free status means alcohol is very cheap by Malaysian standards, which contributes to Langkawi's appeal as a beach resort destination. Pantai Chenang is the busiest beach strip on the island. For something quieter, the northern and eastern coasts are far less visited. I recommend a mangrove kayaking trip at dawn as a first morning activity. The light, the birds, and the complete quiet of the mangrove channels before the day starts are well worth the early rise. March to October is the dry season and best for beach visits. The monsoon from October to January brings rain, but also dramatic skies and significantly lower prices. Sipadan is Malaysia's only oceanic island and is ranked among the 10 best dive sites in the world. The ranking is accurate. The island rises from the Celebes sea floor off the east coast of Sabah, near Semporna, about a 90-minute boat ride from the mainland. Jacques Cousteau visited in 1989 and declared it an untouched piece of art. The sheer walls of Sipadan drop immediately into deep ocean. You can dive from the beach into water that becomes several hundred meters deep. The Barracuda Tornado, a circling school of chevron barracuda that can number in the thousands, is the signature experience, appearing at sites like Barracuda Point with reliable frequency. The turtle populations here are among the most dense in the world. Seeing 4 or 5 turtles in a single dive is entirely normal. The drop-off on the eastern wall has sharks, bumphead parrotfish schools, and enormous Napoleon wrasse. Only 120 dive permits are issued per day to protect the reef. Staying on the nearby islands of Mabul or Kapali is required. There is no overnight accommodation on Sipadan itself. If I had to pick one dive site in Southeast Asia, Sipadan would be it without hesitation. The biodiversity, the wall, and the sheer quantity of large marine life at close range is extraordinary, even by world standards. The calm seas from March to October make this the best period for diving. Book through a resort on Mabul or Kapali that has its own Sipadan permit allocation. Sandakan is the gateway to some of the most extraordinary wildlife encounters available anywhere in Southeast Asia, and the creatures themselves are found almost nowhere else on Earth. The city sits on the northeastern coast of Sabah, connected to Kota, Kinabalu by a 45-minute domestic flight or a 5-hour drive. The city itself was completely rebuilt after World War II, but what surrounds it is the reason to come. The Sepilok Orangutan Rehabilitation Center is where orphaned and injured Bornean orangutans are rehabilitated before release into the wild. The twice-daily feeding sessions bring the animals from the surrounding forest to platforms where you can observe them at close range. Young orangutans building nests, learning to climb, interacting with each other in ways that are genuinely affecting. The Kinabatangan River is one of the richest wildlife corridors in the world. Dawn and dusk boat trips regularly produce sightings of pygmy elephants, proboscis monkeys, crocodiles, and 10 species of hornbills. A morning on the Kinabatangan watching a herd of critically endangered pygmy elephants cross a tributary is a wildlife experience that most safari destinations can't match. Stay 2 to 3 nights at the Kinabatangan for the best wildlife encounters. Book the Sepilok feeding session for 10 a.m., which is less crowded than the 2 p.m. session. Kuala Lumpur is one of Southeast Asia's great eating cities, a mosaic of cultures, and home to 2 buildings that remain among the most striking pieces of architecture completed anywhere in the 20th century. The capital of Malaysia sits at the confluence of the Klang and Gombak rivers. Literally, the name means muddy confluence in Malay. It's the main international entry point for Malaysia. The Petronas Towers are the world's tallest twin towers. They're best seen from KLCC Park in the evening when the towers are lit, and the park fountains reflect the steel and glass. The sky bridge connecting them at the 41st floor is open for timed visits. Masjid Jamek, the city's oldest mosque, is one of the finest pieces of Moorish architecture in the country, and largely overlooked by visitors rushing to the towers. Jalan Alur Food Street is the city's most concentrated evening street food strip. Satay, char kway teow, durian cakes, and ice kacang shaved ice in a tight row of hawker tables. I recommend arriving in Kuala Lumpur hungry and spending the first afternoon eating, in no particular order: roti shani at a mamak stall, a bowl of bakute pork rib soup, and a proper Tatarik pulled tea from a street vendor. That sequence introduces you to the 3 main culinary cultures of the city in one afternoon. Kuala Lumpur works year-round as a city destination. The November to January monsoon brings heavy afternoon rain, but rarely affects morning plans. The city is a very good base for day trips to Malacca and the Batu Caves. Before I reveal number 1, the place our whole team agreed belongs at the top of this list, I want to take a moment to tell you about why we made this video in the first place. Planning a trip to Malaysia can be genuinely overwhelming. Knowing when to visit East Malaysia versus the peninsula, how to sequence Borneo wildlife with island time and city food, and which islands are accessible in which months. The logistics are genuinely complex. That's exactly what Optimized Travel was built for. We connect the right experiences in the right order, from Sepilok dive permits, to Kinabatangan river lodges, to Penang food walks, so you don't lose time working it out on arrival. Head to optimizedtravel.com to find out more, or click the link in the description. And now, number 1. Penang is where Malaysia makes its most complete argument for why it belongs on any list of great travel destinations in Asia. Pulau Pinang sits at the northern end of the Malacca Strait. Georgetown is its cultural and culinary core, but the island extends beyond the city into hill stations, beaches, and a national park that together make Penang work as a full destination, not just an urban visit. Penang Hill rises 830 meters above Georgetown and is reached by a funicular that has been running since 1923. From the summit on a clear morning, you can see across the Malacca Strait to the mainland, with the island spread below. The Kikloksi Temple Complex in Aritam is the largest Buddhist temple in Malaysia. 7 tiers of architecture climbing a hillside, with a bronze Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva statue 30 miles tall visible from the approach road. The Penang National Park at the island's northwest tip has a turtle sanctuary at the Pantai Karachut and a Miro-Mictic Lake, a freshwater lake that coexists with a saltwater layer without mixing, one of only 8 such lakes in the world. If I had to pick one thing, it would be waking early, walking to the Chaurasta Market for char kway teow at 7 a.m., taking the Penang Hill funicular for the sunrise view over the island, then slowly walking back into Georgetown through the Heritage Street as the city wakes. That morning, start to finish, contains almost everything Penang is. Penang works year-round. The southwest monsoon from April through September affects the Batu Ferringhi Beach coast. The northeast monsoon from October through January is lighter, and the island stays largely accessible throughout. The Penang International Food Festival in October is worth timing a visit around. These are the 10 best places to visit in Malaysia. From the hidden gem food city of Ipoh all the way to the island of Penang, with everything it contains, this country genuinely never gets old. If you're ready to plan your trip, head to optimizetravel.com. Our team is ready to help you build the perfect itinerary. And let me know in the comments, which of these 10 Malaysian destinations would you head to first? Are you diving Sepilok, exploring Borneo's wildlife, or eating your way through Penang? Drop it below. We read every single one. If you found this helpful, don't forget to subscribe. We cover the world's best destinations every week, and we'd love to have you along for the ride.